My name's Hesper Hyman, and this is my Module 1 introduction video for EDL 853, Special Education for School Leaders. A little bit about me. I've been married for 21 years to my husband, Cody. We have two sons. They have both graduated from TextLine here where I work. The oldest is a technician for Caterpillar in Lubbock, Texas, and the other one is currently attending college in Borger, Texas. We actually live on a working cattle ranch in New Mexico. I teach in Texas, so I have a 45-minute drive one way, as well as changing time zones when I come to and from work. My husband is the fourth generation on that cattle ranch. We love it, but it does keep everybody pretty busy. A little bit about my work environment. Here at TextLine ISD, we are a small rural school in the Northwest Texas Panhandle. We are about 3 miles from New Mexico and about 10-15 miles from Oklahoma. I do have 18 years of teaching experience, the last 12 years being here at TextLine. Before I came to teach here at TextLine, I did get out of teaching for a little bit, for about 6 years, but then came back. Currently, I do teach 6th and 7th grade math and science. I also teach a home economics class, a personal finance class, as well as a remediation for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math students. When we look at the demographics of TextLine ISD, about 80% of our students are considered to be on free and reduced lunches. About 11% of our population here at TextLine ISD is special ed. The current enrollment rate here at TextLine ISD is about 176 students pre-K through 12. We also have a large percentage of our students, 12% approximately, of our students on 504 accommodations. So how does my school meet the needs of our special ed students? The majority of our special ed and 504 students are going to be in mainstream classroom. So they are met through their modifications and accommodations on their IEPs or on their 504 plans. We do have a small amount of students that do receive just their core classes from either the special ed teacher or the paraprofessional. My school is a part of a co-op called the Northwest Texas Special Education SSA. They are a huge help to our special ed department and to us as a whole, as far as our instruction, services, identification testing. They handle a lot of that for us. So any questions we have, if our special ed teacher isn't able to answer those for us, she can contact the co-op and they're able to help her with any questions. They're great at getting us information and materials that we need and just kind of keeping us up to date. My personal use with special needs students and the strategies that I use, of course, I always have their IEP and 504 plans at the beginning of the year. I will be looking at those constantly while I am planning my classes to make sure that I'm meeting the needs of each one of those plans. As, of course, the year goes on, you kind of have in mind what those plans need to be and what kind of changes you need to do. Any modifications we've started doing this year, we make sure we document very clearly to make sure there's a paper trail of that we are doing the IEPs and the modifications that are needed, as well as any 504 documentations. Our principal this year started a new thing called Student Support Team. This is where teachers that have the same students that have IEPs or 504s meet once a 6 weeks. And we meet with the principal and we go over those 504 plans and the documentation that we've accumulated to make sure that we're documenting what we need to. We make sure that we're meeting their accommodations. And we also just talk about, what are some things we could do differently? What's working in one class that might not be working in another, and how can we consistently be consistent from class to class with these students? What are some ways that I think that we can improve for our special needs students? One of the biggest for me is training. I know that when I first started in education, I had no idea what my special needs students were. I had an idea what an IEP was, but don't tell me how I was supposed to figure out how to fill out the paperwork for it. Unfortunately, each year we get just the basic training as far as this is what rules have changed on the federal level. These are what have changed on the state level. This is what you need to make sure you're doing. But I sometimes think we need a little bit more in depth. What do our students need more one-on-one, making sure that we are meeting the needs of our students. Something that I would really like to see happen here at Texline ISD is to get more aides and paraprofessionals. Unfortunately, we're very limited on the amount of people that we have available to work these types of jobs. But there are times that I feel like we could actually use some more aides in our special ed department that could maybe help out in the classrooms with regular ed teachers. And that just seems to kind of be lacking. So how does funding impact some of these changes? Well, for training, our co-op, actually, we currently pay to be a part of that co-op. So there wouldn't be any added expense in that area to be able to get some additional training. I think it just comes down to asking them to put something together for us. We get so busy day to day, taking care of classes, taking care of everything else, that I think we don't spend as much time on training, especially for the things we need for our special needs students sometimes. Of course, anytime you're talking about adding people to staff, you've got to be able to pay them. And so funding is going to be a big issue with how can we afford to get more aides and more paras for the individual class. So that brings me to the end of my slide. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I look forward to this class this semester. Thank you.